that stitch and move that stitch to 4. Okay, now the next one. Okay, ready to do this one. These are the 3 I'm going to change. So I take it 1, 2, 3, and 4. So take 2, move it to 1, knit the stitch, move that stitch back to 2, move 3, to 2, knit the stitch, move that stitch to 3, take 4, move it to 3, knit that stitch, move that back to 4. And that's how I've created my buttonhole. Now the next one, I want to make sure I go 3 from the top. So I want 1, 2, 3, and 4. So move 2 to 1, knit the stitch, move that back to 2, move 3 to 2, knit that stitch, move that back to 3, move 4 to 3, knit that stitch, and move that back. Now the next row I'm going to be knitting it by hand because I need to add some stitches. Okay, so I'm going to back my camera up a little bit. Bear with me. Let's see if I can't get this. Okay, gonna come out a little bit, can't I? Okay, now as I said, I'm going to knit this row by hand. I should have enough time. I'm going to move my carriage over to the right. I'm going to avoid all my little hooks. Now you want to, when you're doing this, you want to make sure your stitches remain consistent. Okay. Now, I'm going to add stitches to these 3 buttonholes. And to do that, I'm going to do like an E-wrap on the first one, wrap the second one, stitch the first one. Come up, wrap the first or third, stitch the second. And I'm going to wrap the 4th, stitch the 3rd. Then I'm going to just stitch these manually. Now, these are getting ready to pop off. So what I will do, I will dig up my weights, figure out where I put them. There we go. And I'll hang that onto the center of it. And I'll knit these rows. Now, making sure my stitches maintain. But I'm going to transform these to seed stitch, remember? Okay. Do an E-wrap. Wrap the next needle in the row. stitch the first one. Wrap the third, stitch the second. Wrap the fourth, stitch the third. And then stitch these neat stitches. Alright, I must have picked up some yarn in there. There we go. Much better. And now I'm just knitting these by hand. Now I only eyeball these. You can certainly count your stitches and get them exact. You wrap the first, wrap the second, stitch the first. Under that one, over and stitch. Under, over and stitch. And then stitch. Now this, when I do knit this row, after I've converted the stitches I need to convert, I'm going to go very slow. You wrap, wrap, stitch. You wrap, stitch. Wrap, stitch. Stitch. Now I'm going to zoom in on this next one so you can see what I'm actually doing. Okay. Now let's get up close here. Let's see how close can I get. I think that's about. Alright. And just a second while I get the camera so I can see. There we go. Okay, I E-wrap this one. I wrap that one. Stitch the first one. E-wrap the next needle. Stitch the one before. Wrap the next one. Stitch it. And then stitch this one. And then stitch this one. Okay, now these, see how they kind of come up? I'm going to dig up my weights. There we go. And I'm going to put one on each center. And I hope I have enough. Let's see. Now, if I don't have enough, what I can do... No, better go up. Let's see. I guess that's it. Did I drop one? There's one I can use. And hang it there. Now these stitches I am going to need to manipulate. So figuring out carriages on this side. So that was the one I wanted to remember. So I will manipulate this one. Now I am not going to manipulate the stitches that are part of my buttonhole. I'm only going to manipulate up 2. Now this is... So those 4 that I used, I am not going to manipulate them. Now if you are familiar with another way of doing a button band, you are more than welcome to do it. And I'm aiming right below the needle so that I can convert the stitch to purl. I'm trying to make sure I don't grab any more than I need. I have done that. The next row will be easier. Okay, that's one of the ones I didn't want to do. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of this row off camera. Maybe, let me see if I can back up. No, okay, you can watch me. And those 4 that I used for the buttonhole, remember, I mean, it's 3 of the buttonholes, but that one extra one, I'm not going to convert that one. That's just one of the design elements that I'm choosing to do. Uh-oh, let's see what happened here. I went too far down. So, I'm going to have to manipulate this stitch back into what the machine knits. Let me see that. So I reform this one. What I'm doing, you can't see too well, I'm making sure I grab the correct loop so it leaves the loop that I have to convert on this row available to grab so that I can convert it. That's why it's really important that you take a few seconds and make sure you grab the right stitch. And the stitch I'm going for is the row below, so I can convert it. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that one because it's part of my 4 that I used. That wrapping. I don't know if that stitch has a name, but it effectively does what I needed it to do, so. Now the next row should be fairly simple. Yeah. Just carefully grab the loop you dropped. You don't want to undo the stitch if you can help it. Okay, that's one of my 4. Okay, now see, I'm going to manipulate the last stitch, so when I come back to manipulate the next row, I want to remember on this side I have to go in one. Okay, now I'm going to knit this row very slowly. Give it a chance to grab. I can hear it's not grabbing all of them, but it's not a major problem. So you kind of hesitated, then grabbed. It's this one I didn't stitch. I was expecting it, so it's no biggie. And this one I didn't stitch for the same reason. You could hear it kind of not grab. Okay, now I want to convert. Ooh. See what happened here? That one I'm not gonna, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna camouflage that one. I'm just gonna tie it up down into this one. That's it. Okay,